Well, as everybody can see, yeah, it's on. Things are a little bit different here today. Perhaps you've noticed the Unity pineapple thingy. What's that called? The Unity brand, or what word are they using? Pineapple thingies up there. Been a very interesting week to be putting this all together. The timing on it has been, it was planned to be up and running a few weeks ago, and the challenges have been beyond belief. You know, it's just absolutely, you've got to be kidding. Whenever John gets involved in something, he really, really thoroughly studies it, knows all about it before he makes the commitment to buy something. Well, there wasn't one thing that he had planned that came together. Not one. Yeah, it was. You know, and so it has been an extremely interesting challenge. But as of yesterday, it was up and running, and we've got it going. And so today will be the first service that we've used it with. And, yes, and a lot of things that we'll be able to do with it, he tells me, it's beyond me. But anyway, I'm so glad that you're all here today, because this is going to be a really special, special service. And I think at this point I'm going to light the Christ candle.
Start with a song.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Here we are, all together as we sing our song. Joyfully, here we are, all together as we pray, we'll always be. Join me now, friends, and celebrate the unity we share. All as one, keep the fire burning, kindle it with care, and we'll all join in and sing. Here we are, all together as we sing our song. Joyfully, here we are, all together as we pray, we'll always be. Freedom we can shout for everybody, and until there is need to pray, soon there will be one true family, and we'll all join in and sing. Here we are, all together as we sing our song. Joyfully, here we are, all together as we pray, we'll always be. Glorify the one with all our voices, show that we're sincere. By all our deeds, shout the joys of freedom everywhere, and we'll all join in and sing. Here we are, all together as we sing our song. Joyfully, here we are, all together as we pray, we'll always be. Let us make the world an hallelujah. Let us make the world a better place. Keep a smile handy, lend a helping hand, and we'll all join in and sing. Here we are, all together as we sing our song. Joyfully, here we are, all together as we pray, we'll always be. Oh,
Thank you.
yes.
Now I can light the Christ candle, I think. And as I remind us each week when I light this, it is meant to be a visual of the Christ light within all of us that's there at all points in time. Just patiently waiting to say, what can I do to help? that's a visual of that. And I have asked Phyllis if she will do the opening prayer, please.
Good morning. Let us come together in prayer to remember what this service is truly about, our connection with the living light. Heavenly Father, we come together today, each of us in our own unique way, to regroup, to re-celebrate, and to remember the joy of being a living spiritual being in a human experience. Your grace, your light, your love flows through us. We are your expression in this physical world. There is sadness in this world, Father, and some of us have been experiencing that. But knowing, even in the darkest moments, there is the light, and the light is within. We can keep going. We can remember. We can again celebrate the very journey that you have sent us upon on this earth. Thank you for this day. Thank you for our bounty. Thank you for the love that is all around us and here with us now as we join in celebration for the truth. You are the light that guides us in this way. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Phyllis. Very nice and very appropriate. And now I remind you of the prayer box. You'll find prayer requests on the back of the pews, and you're always invited to fill one out and come up and put it in the box yourself if you like, or it can go in the prayer corner back there or in the brass bowls when they come around. And just know that a lot of power goes into the requests and things that are placed in here. And at the end of each month, they are sent back to Silent Unity, where they are prayed over for an additional 30 days in the Silent Unity Chapel. And now I think John's going to do announcements. Okay. Do you have your announcements? Would you like to see the notes?
Thank you. Hi, gang. Well, here we go proving my theory again. When we've had nice weather and then it turns crummy, people stay home. Until they get used to staying home, then they come back out. Until the weather turns nice, then they stay home. It's just a thing we do here on the coast, but that's okay. We're here, and we're glad to be here, and we're going to have a good time. All right, and I saw snacks sneak downstairs. So the less of us there are, the more snacks per person. It'll be okay. Next Sunday, September 23rd, Reverend Susan Dorn will be joining us. Susan's pretty neat. I'm really pleased with how she's come along. She sang for us for years and years, and then she said, "Can I get ordained in your church?" And I said, "Huh? You think?" And she's excellent speaker. Randy Burns will be joining her, I think. I get so confused on these things anymore.
I checked it out. It is Randy.
To perform the music. All right, Reverend Marina's family has scheduled a celebration event for her on September 20th. You've got a flyer in your bulletin that tells all about it, and a little map too. It'll help you find how to get there. I'm going to send out an email this week so that the people that haven't got the word will hopefully get the word. I guess we should talk about the big pineapple in the room. Did you notice something different? Oh, yep, something different. Well, yes, it's finally up and running. And like Judy said, Took a little while to get me to understand it. But we're getting there, and we're coming along fine. I logged onto YouTube with that thing yesterday and noticed that I have 80 past Sunday services on YouTube. So I think what we'll do is we'll have a Tuesday night thing, and we'll all come together, and we'll watch 80 services. And we can order in pizza.
But something here that also being those are ones that are available, if we ever get caught short at the last minute.
I got covered.
Can't drive over because of
Here's what we did 5 years ago.
we'll still have something where we can pull up one of the services.
And listen to what Georgie said just 3 years ago. That'll work. All right. But starting about next week, I'm still just getting used to it, how to navigate with it and all of that. Starting next week, we'll start having the words to the songs we sing on there and all that kind of thing. And that should be fun.
And that's going to save an awful lot of paper, so that helps with recycling and all of that, and a lot of ink and so forth. So.
Whatever, it should be fun. In the meantime, I decided for this week I would provide the special music by singing one of my more memorable tunes while playing my kazoo. I haven't done this in a very long time. But darned if I've been able to find my kazoo. Judy said that's just more of that divine order stuff. So instead, I thought I'd let our new system take a crack at special music. Pardon me? We'll see how this works out. The first thing you have to do is be able to see the darn thing.
What do you need to do? I can see it.
And then I need to see that. And then I need to see that. And then I need to see that. No music, no sound.
No sound?
Here we are. Wow. It is so bright I can hardly see you. I know you're out there. I know you're out there. So tonight we're going to start at the beginning. We're going to start back, if you remember, way, way back when you were a little tiny kid. And you believed in magic. And you believed that the world was good. And that there were rainbows and butterflies and everything sweet and fantastic. That's where we're going to start tonight. Joel's going to join me on a journey, and we're going to take you somewhere over the rainbow. Let's give him a nice warm round of applause. do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me. Where troubles melt like lemon drops way above the chimney tops, that's where you'll find
In case anyone isn't aware of this, this is from Lorena's one-woman show that she did at the Elsinore several years ago. It was recorded at the time, but none of it was out for anybody to have copies or anything because it was not of a quality but that she was pleased with, but she did give John a copy of it. And so from that, he was able to work with this and get this up here.
Do you have the whole thing, the whole concert?
Do you have her whole concert? Yeah.
That was so good.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, helps us remember when.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see where I am now. It's time for our monthly affirmation, please. So if you'll take your cards out, and we'll do the one for Unity by the Sea first, please. Unity by the sea is enriched by our love of all living things. And then for ourselves, I am enriched by the love of all living things. And today the daily word is on world peace. And Kate, would you be willing to do it for me? Let me just do it down here.
Reading or watching the news today may cause me to feel frustration and angry. It would seem that there is little I can do to affect events in the world. Surely world peace lies well beyond my abilities. Yet I know and affirm that all life is an expression of spiritual consciousness. My every thought plays a vital role in determining not only how my life will unfold, but what I am contributing to the collective consciousness. The peace I choose to express in my life resonates into all of creation. As today unfolds, I welcome every opportunity to stop and center myself. Through my spiritual willingness, I contribute to peace in the world. And from the Bible, I have said this to you, so that in me you may have peace. In the world you face persecution, but take courage. I have conquered the world. John 16:33.
Thank you, Kate. And just a reminder, we do have daily words available out there just inside the front door, and they're $3 a piece, and the ones right now are for September and October. So if anybody would like to have one, they're out there. And now Mike's going to do some music for us. Thank you, Mike. This is a song that John requested for Mike to do today. And it ended up being an incredible challenge for him. It seems it's a jazz song, and he doesn't play jazz. So, as he told me this morning, first thing, last night he was ready to completely give up, totally, and say, this is not going to work. And then he had one more thought, and at 9:30 last night, he managed to get it put together. So thank you, Mike, very much. And now it is my honor to turn everything over to Georgie. And just, Georgie isn't feeling well today either. It seems that this stuff, a lot of people are battling some of the things that are going around. Yes.
Good morning, everyone. You can probably hear from my voice that it isn't really up to speed, but we're going to do the best we can here and just trust that it'll flow. And so Mike had his challenges. I've got mine a little bit this week as well. That was very reminiscent, John. Bonnie and I were both there at that one-woman show of Lorena's. I was living in California at the time, but I had promised Lorena, when she told me that dream a year before it happened, I said, wherever I am, I will fly back. I will be there. And so we were. I flew in and stayed with my sister, Bon, and we were there that night. So, yeah, quite a spectacular night for her. And 3 weeks, a month ago, on the third Sunday of August, when I was here speaking to you last time, at about 10 to 11 or so, I got a text that Lorena was on her way. Kara and June were bringing her down, but they were running late. So John said, we hold the service. We'll start late. And we did. She came in, they came in about 11:15 or so, and we started then. And that was, of course, the last time that she was physically here as well. She passed on August the 27th at about 11 o'clock in the morning. I was there with her, as was Barb Kennard from Unity of Salem, and all 5 of her kids were there as well. It was a peaceful passing for her. And then that following Sunday, the first Sunday of September, Unity of Salem kind of opened up a space of time and had a story time. The new minister there, turned her sermon space over and just let people share, which was very generous of Patty to do that. She didn't know Lorena very well. Patty didn't. But that's where Lorena started, was at Unity of Salem. And so many people loved her, and she had stepped in there as interim minister even for a couple of different times. So she was very well loved. And so for that, about a half hour, they just shared a lot of stories. She was a very powerful light. She was very, very instrumental in inspiring many of us, myself included. But Judy reminds us every Sunday when she lights that rice candle that is a symbol of what is inside of each one of us. That divine essence, that soul's essence, that what we call the indwelling Christ is within us all. Sometimes when we are maybe just starting out on this life journey, it may not be lit quite as brightly as it is later on in life. I think we're always on our spiritual journey. But for many of us, there comes a moment when it becomes a conscious spiritual journey. And when that happens, it's like we have a rheostat button, and then through our studies and through our reading and through everything else that we go through, all of our healing, we just keep turning that rheostat up on that light within ourselves. When Lorena first started at Unity of Salem and came to me all those years ago, 12, 13 years ago now, and made an appointment, came in my office and sat down, and she said, I'm going to do my work, headaches or no headaches. Those were her first words out of her mouth. I said, okay, well, let's see what we can do here. And her light wasn't shining very brightly then, because she had a whole bunch of human stuff that had built up, as we all do. It's part of our journey. But over the years, that rheostat kept turning up, and by over the last 2 years, it was so bright for all of us. It just became a brilliant light that we all came to love, and which inspired all of us. I hope a number of you can get together and carpool over on Thursday, if you would. I'm scheduled to officiate that also, so we'll see that I have a better voice 4 days from now than it is right now. But it'll be what it is. In March of this year, Lorena went ahead and had one more chemo treatment that the doctor suggested. It was a very, very strong chemo treatment. That's where she lost all of her hair, and she was sick for about 3 weeks. And after that, she chose no more chemo, no more treatment, which I know most of you know. It was right about that time, maybe about mid-March or so, when I read Lynn, what's her last name? McTaggart's new book, The Power of Eight. And when I read that, I knew that I had to broach Lorena with maybe putting this together. The format for a Power of Eight group is just 8 to 12 people that agree to come together and work with one person on that person's intentions for their healing, or whatever their intention is. So it was a pretty low time for Lorena right then, but we talked on the phone, and I shared some things with her. I said, I think we need to try this, and I think we need to see. And so she listened and agreed, and so gave me some suggestions of some names. And so I sent out an email to these people and explained about it, told them where they could get the book to learn more if they wished, and asked if they would, I was giving them an invitation if they wanted to be part of this. And we would meet every Sunday at 3 o'clock at Lorena's house, every Sunday that she was there, because she was still doing things with her kids and so forth, as much as she could. And so every one of those people, yes, absolutely. Now, some of them couldn't actually travel to McMinnville to do that, but we put them on a phone. So we usually had 3 phones sitting in the middle there, and they were part of that process as well. So we met with her every single Sunday at 3 o'clock, everyone that she was available, from the second Sunday of April, the Sunday after Easter, all the way through to the end of August, just not the last Sunday of August. So it was up to Lorena to write an intention that we could all hold for her when we met together, and then we held it daily. Each one of us committed to do that throughout the week as well. This was her intention. You'll notice as I read it to you, there's no mention of cancer in this. And the reason is because Lorena always felt the cancer came to bring her gifts. And so she in no way wanted to form an intention to kick the cancer out. So this was her intention. I release all limiting beliefs that may be interfering with my full healing. I am whole and vibrant, and my physical body reflects that. I affirm love, courage, ease, and grace as I navigate my divinely guided path, knowing the highest and the best is always at work for all involved. About 3 days after she passed, I still didn't know what I was going to talk to you folks about on this Sunday. But I woke up with the question in my mind going over and over, what are limiting beliefs? What are limiting beliefs, Georgie? And so I said, okay, I got it. So I went, 5 o'clock in the morning, I went into the computer, and that's what you're getting today, is what I got then. That's what I want to cover, because it's by discovering and then releasing those limiting beliefs that we begin to turn up that rheostat on our Christ light, on our soul light. Now, I've identified 4 of them, and I know that each one of us has our own list. But the ones I identified are kind of what I consider universal limiting beliefs. It's like we kind of all have them. So I'm going to speak on 2 of them this morning, and then John has invited me to come back again on the last Sunday, because there's 5 Sundays this month, and I'll speak on the other 2 more fully on that Sunday. Okay, but I'm going to name them all for you this morning. So I think the first one that comes up for me as a huge limiting belief is judgment. Okay? Judgment. The next is unforgiveness. The third one is fear of lack. Not enough. And the fourth one is a belief in a golden calf or another power at work in my life. And we'll cover 3 and 4, and maybe even a 5th one that has come into my mind in 2 weeks. Okay, so let's talk about judgment first. We all do it. I used to have a friend that would slap out a judgment, and she'd say, Georgie, that's not judgment, that's discernment. Oh, okay.
Fine line.
Very fine line, absolutely. It's kind of like it's lock-stitched into our DNA from the time we arrive. We pick it up in the womb, my friends. That little baby growing in that womb is picking up thoughts and feelings from mom and dad and siblings or whoever else might be around, okay? And then when our soul enters that new baby body, it already has a job of trying to align with that baby brain and work with what's already encoded in it that it's already picked up just from being in the womb. So if that's the case, then that's almost as a part of us as our breathing is. So how do we begin to shake loose of this idea of judgment? Well, as the teacher Abraham would say, you don't go from the bottom rung of the ladder to the top in one jump. You know, it's a step-by-step kind of process. So I think there are some steps that we can take to begin to catch ourselves. I remember when I was first into Unity, and I decided I would start blessing my food every time I ate. You know, for a little while I did it just before I ate, and then pretty soon I found I was forgetting, and I'd have to bless it halfway through. You know, so it's a matter of catching ourselves when we're going to do that. Okay, so we've got a couple of choices here. We can recognize that we're in a state of judgment. And we can maybe back ourselves out of that a little bit if we don't catch ourselves before we even get into it, and put something else in place. We can put preference in place, you know. And usually it's about another's behavior in some way. So, as an example, politics are very big in our country, and many of us don't care for the way that some folks are in office, are representing that office. Okay, so rather than jump into the judgment of the behavior of the person in the office, or if we've already jumped in, then maybe try to back ourselves out, we can say something like, I really would prefer that so-and-so in that office speak or act with more understanding or compassion. So we're not making any difference to so-and-so out there in that office, but we're using it as a training tool for ourselves to catch our thinking so we can begin to stop automatically judging. Begin to work on it that way. Now, don't expect this to work overnight. Kind of like my blessing my food. You'll get right in the middle of it before you think, oops, I think I'm supposed to look for a preference here rather than judge this situation. So it will take days. It will take weeks. It will probably take months and maybe years. But as Spirit said to me one time, what else do you have to do with the rest of your life? Really, that's what I heard when I was acting out. Wanted something right away. I heard, what else do you have to do with the rest of your life? Okay, I got it, I said. Okay. So there's a step, kind of a final step after the preference step, and that's when our consciousness shifts to the point that we can slip into an awareness that nothing is amiss. This is Earth School. This is Earth School. It's like a stage play. And we're all acting our roles, the roles that we have chosen before we even arrived on this side, okay? We're doing the best we can to learn the things that we have to learn before we leave this incarnation and move beyond. If we don't do it as perfect as we would have liked to, we'll have plenty of time to think about it and self-evaluation when we're on the other side. And if we decide to come back to work it all over again, we can have as many lives as we want to work on that very situation. So, but to get into that place, that understanding that nothing is amiss. This is just Earth School. We're all doing the best we can to learn what we have to learn. I want to share a little piece here about judgment that the Course in Miracles has to say. This is from the text, page 413, if you work with the Course. It says, judgment is but a toy, a whim, the senseless mean to play the idle game of death in your imagination. What if you recognized this world is an hallucination? What if you really understood you made it up? What if you realized that those who seem to walk about in it, to sin and die and attack and murder and destroy themselves are wholly unreal? Could you have faith in what you see? If you accepted this, and would you see it? Hallucinations disappear when they are recognized for what they are. This is the healing and the remedy. Believe them not, and they are gone. And all you need to do is recognize that you did this. Once you accept this simple fact and take unto yourself the power you gave them, you are released from them. It's all perception. All perception. So now let's look at that limiting belief called unforgiveness, or the refusal to forgive ourselves or someone else for something they have done. And sometimes people have been hurt so badly that they just get stuck in that place and they cannot seem to shake loose of it. Are any of you familiar with Neil Donald Walsh's book, The Littlest Soul?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I don't have it here with me, but I know the story rather well, so I'm going to give you just a little synopsis of it. There was a little soul, and he was getting ready to return to Earth. And he had pondered this a long time, and he had decided that what he wanted to learn when he came to Earth was forgiveness. So he went to God, talked to God about it, and God said, well, you can do that, but you know, there's nothing to forgive. So I'm not too sure why you want to do that. And so the little soul kept arguing with God that this is really what he wanted to do. So out into the kingdom went the message that God and the littlest soul were having a very deep discussion. And everybody came flocking in so that they could hear what's going on and hear this dialogue, you know. So it went back and forth a little bit. And then another soul, kind of out on the peripheral there, raised its hand. And so the little soul said, "You want to say something?" He said, "Yes. If that's what you want to do, I'll come to earth with you, and I will do something that will hurt you very badly so you can practice forgiveness." And the littlest soul said, "Oh my goodness, you would do that for me? Oh, that would be so wonderful." And the other soul said, "Yes, but I have something I would like you to do for me." "Oh, anything. Anything," the littlest soul said. "This is so kind of you." And so the little soul in the back there said, "At the very moment that I smite you and I hurt you to the depth of your being, will you please remember who I am in truth? Because you see, I may have forgotten." And I think that sums up the whole idea of forgiveness absolutely perfectly. But I will tell you a personal story as well to kind of help bring that maybe down to earth a little bit. When I was being raised, and this stands true for my sisters as well, my folks seemed to have a list of things that were important, but at the very top of that list was they must raise us not to be conceited. No swell head in our family, okay? And so if you got a compliment with one hand, it was quickly taken away with the other hand, that kind of thing. Well, by the time I was married at 19 years old, I had such a poor self-image that I was afraid to talk on the telephone. And it's very, very painful. It's very painful to have that kind of a low self-image. And as I started to do my work later on, you know, then I was very angry at my folks, particularly my mother, for having pressed this upon me. And I went through such a long period of pain trying to crawl out of that place inside myself. And then I was probably at Unity of Salem, maybe about 5 years or so. So this would be sometime in the late 90s. And I was at the front door, and people were streaming out, telling me I was talking directly to them, and it was the best service they'd ever heard, and thank you so much and everything. And I was nodding and telling them I'm glad that they enjoyed it and so forth, knowing very clearly inside myself it wasn't anything I said, it's what they heard. That was the important thing. And then when the last person left, I stood there, and it was like during that whole time there was the witness part of me was just watching that whole process. And when the last person left, it just kind of popped into my mind, oh my God, all those years of my folks doing that don't get conceited thing had lock-stitched humility into me in some way, so that people could tell me how wonderful I was all the time. And it's not that I didn't accept their opinion, but it was like, you know, that's what they heard, and that's their opinion, and I'm grateful, and I know I did the best I could, but that's all. It's Spirit working through me. That's, you know, it's not that big of a deal. So in that moment, I realized that all those years of Mom making darn sure I wouldn't be conceited had built in this place of humbleness inside of me. And I could see that there was a bigger picture going on all the time, even though it was very painful for me when I was young. So if we go with the theory that we're all playing a part on one another's stage, which I truly believe we are, it would behoove all of us to stop for a moment, to back up, and seek another perception. Because that's all we're dealing with here. We're dealing with our perception of what happened and what the motivation was behind the act as well. So ask yourself, could there be another way of looking at this? Is there a bigger picture in here that I am missing? So when I'm here in 2 weeks, I will talk about the fear of lack and also the golden calf experience, and I think there'll be one more as well. It's kind of flitting with the back of my head. So Mike's going to help us with the meditation for just a few minutes, and so I'm going to invite you just to kind of close your eyes and make yourself comfortable and listen to his song, and then I'll just gently lead you into a little bit of meditation.
I'm so grateful. God is gracious. I'm so grateful. I am free. I'm so grateful. God is gracious. The light is in all I see. I'm so grateful. God is gracious. I'm so grateful. I am free. I'm so grateful. God is gracious. God and the light is in all I see.
Ah, thank you, Mike. I am so grateful. There is so much in our lives, dear God, for which we can be grateful. And when we start writing that gratitude list, it just keeps growing and growing and growing. Yes, we have those limiting beliefs. And yet, our gratitude list is longer. So as we begin to look at those limiting beliefs in our own lives, those things that pop up and say, yeah, but, to us, deflect us, make us forget, even just for a short time, who we are in truth. If we can just take a few moments and put something else on the gratitude list in our heart, that will springboard us out of that darker place, the clutches of those limiting beliefs. And I'm having a feeling that Lorena is here with us because she just reminded me that when she would call me in tears and things were so black and so down. After I listened for a while, I would remind her of some of the things for which she was grateful and send her back to creating the gratitude list. And it was always gratitude and focusing on what she was grateful for that would keep her out of the clutches of the fear and the worry and the limiting beliefs. Thank you, dear friend, for that, jogging my memory there. We send you our love always, and we bless your soul, and we are so grateful that you are free and that you are able to pop in and be with us momentarily here and there. Just reminding us that you are alive and you are well. And so it is. Amen. And now just take a moment, just take your time, and when you're ready, you may open your eyes. I've invited Judy to take over the offering piece of the service today instead of doing it myself.
Thank you, Georgie. Thank you so much for so many, many things. Okay, if you would like to take your offering, hold it in your hands or place it over your heart, however you're comfortable with it. And if you will repeat with me our blessing, our offering blessing. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is.
And sky, I have heard my people cry, all who dwell in dark and sin, my hand will save. I who made the stars of night, I will make their darkness bright. Who will bear my light to them? Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. It is I, Lord. I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, as you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. I, the Lord of snow and rain, I have borne my people's pain. I have wept for love of them. They turn away. I will break their hearts of stone, give them hearts for love alone. I will and flame. I will tend the poor and lame. I will set a feast for them. My hand will save. Finest bread I will provide, till their hearts be satisfied. I will give my life to them. Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart.
Mike, that was so beautiful. That was my ministerial practice song.
Really?
Sang it at my graduation.
Oh my gosh, I have no idea.
Join me in prayer, please, as we bless these gifts. Finest bread I will supply. Said the Lord of hosts. Dear God, we are so grateful for all these financial gifts and all the other gifts that you rain down upon us. Sometimes all it means that we just have to open our eyes, look around us, to realize how blessed we are. So we bless these financial gifts and we bless the givers. Thank you, God.
Good morning. Please join me in reading our statement for peace in your bulletin. Unity stands for peace in the presence of conflict, for love in the presence of hatred, for forgiveness in the presence of injury. Unity honors the many names for God, the many paths to God, the many ways to worship God. For there is only one power and presence of God, and that God loves each one of us equally. It is therefore the position of unity to urge all nations, their leaders, and their people to turn to God by whatever the name for guidance during these challenging times, and to pursue peace, not war, for this is what honors the God of all our faith traditions. Unity stands for peace in our lifetime. The wolf shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the lion and the fatling together, and a little child shall lead them. And they shall not hurt or destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord. I will not be the part of the killing of any child, no matter how lofty the reason. Not my neighbor's child, not my child, not my enemy's child, not by bomb, not by bullet, not by looking the other way. I will be the power that is peace.
And I guess we'll circle up now.
Everyone has a concern or gratitude and anything at all, which you were placing our system, we will not continue to do that at this point in time. It isn't necessary for you to speak it, but you are welcome to if you like. If not, it is a statement.
Georgie's beautiful voice.
And gratitude for the wonderful message. May you guys see.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And we'll close with the prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is